Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video. How my marriage survived my wife cheating. I began writing this as a comment to someone else's article, but realized it's so lengthy it deserves its own post. So that you have it. My wife, female 55, cheated on me, male 61. Early in our marriage, I found out why and focused on correcting my mistakes. Her guilt sentiments resulted in an almost silent bedroom. It took a long time, but we made it. This was almost 30 years ago. We have been married for 2 years. My wife has never been in a relationship with anybody other than me. She knew I had a few before I met her, but not many. So she was intrigued, and I understood that. There was no doubt about it. It was a violation of trust. I was paying for her last 2 years of college. On day 3, we had 1 kid, EPT positive, and our honeymoon was gone. I worked extremely hard and stayed up late. She was tremendously envious of a coworker, an actual beauty pageant queen with whom I shared a real office with a lockable door. She had no cause to be concerned. I was a decent lad, as did she, and she was much out of my league anyhow. In fact, many ladies almost flung themselves at me, and I waved them off. No one who has been cheated on should blame themselves, and I don't, but you can understand it if you examine the circumstances. New family, new job, extremely late hours, and then they had me go to trade events to show off my work. In year 2, I was gone for 60 days, a few days at a time. Furthermore, it was just my second relationship, and the last one had ended abruptly. I had no concept how to be a good attentive boyfriend or spouse, or that this incredibly gorgeous lady needed to hear how much I loved her and how lovely she was all the time. We were both so busy creating our life and caring for our kid that we didn't have much time for each other, although we did go out with friends on a few occasions. This man, a guy her age from college, certainly got into her brain. I'm 6 years older than she was at the time. When we bumped into him at a party one night, I sensed a feeling that didn't set right with me, but she stated she was assisting her buddy, female 23, in getting with him, and that made sense. Anyway, I had to pick up the child from the babysitter, and we had a small argument because I wanted her to accompany me. She said that she needed to assist a buddy. Then I saw she wasn't wearing any underwear underneath her short skirt and hose. Her buddy confirmed her account, but I was still enraged. She was not going with me. I stormed out. She was driven home by a buddy who was clearly inebriated. She swore nothing occurred that night, and she still does. She was all on me when she got home, which I appreciated. Nothing appeared out of the ordinary over the following several days, and I let it go after making it plain that it was not okay. She seems to agree. We had just acquired our first home a year and a half later. I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary, yet we had grown apart. She was mostly irritated by my overwork, and we weren't spending much time together in bed because of packing, relocating, and all the other nonsense that comes with it. So everything became chilly, and I assumed it was simply because we were too busy. She finally admitted it one afternoon after unpacking. We were trying for a second child. She kept delaying me. Then I knew something was wrong, and she informed me, tearfully. He was clearly in discomfort. She informed me about it. They were in the same class. They met in the month after the nightclub night. He was driving his automobile. I requested specifics, and she couldn't provide them. But I was able to pull it all together. She was definitely filled with remorse. S was a chore for her, and she went through the motions for a long time. But I loved her before all of this, and seeing her in anguish wounded me. I assumed that time would cure this, accept the demands of having 2 children, living the middle-class ideal, and struggling. With it, all my life did nothing but make time fly by. We barely got by. I had to beg for S every few weeks or so, said she wasn't interested. After a dozen years, things improved. We began by playing different role-playing games, which at least got us started. But we'd been in the other pattern for so long that I didn't even know how to make her happy, and I'm not a good lover. She still wouldn't talk about what she wanted, so I made up minor scenarios to keep the building interesting. Things like becoming a plumber need payment, or agreeing to a huge buy only if I had S that may seem strange, but it was our thing, and we at least discussed it. So we've gotten over the cheating, and the following section is less about cheating and more about what comes around and goes around. It's a good thing we discovered our niche. We had no clue what was in store for her, early onset arthritis, constant agony, therapy that never ends, doctors, pain relievers and surgical procedures multiple. Joint replacements are required. So another dozen years passed with little S. I wasn't going to push it since I knew she wasn't feeling good. She was doped up if she wasn't in agony. It is at this moment that I shall convey my thoughts about our marriage. I made a vow to God that contained the words for better or worse. And all of this served another purpose for us. We learned how to help one another. We figured out how to communicate. She's an expert at picking up on nonverbal signs, and I'm aware of it. I did see a little porn as her sickness progressed. I recognized it was nonsense, wasn't impressed, and moved on to more realistic S materials. I was seeking for ways to improve our life. To be honest, I learnt about the and the G-spot through reading the tales. But I didn't have somewhere to go with it as long as she was sick. Then there was the miracle. It all began with awful news. Her health had been harmed by the pain relievers, and she couldn't take them anymore. It was scary for her to be in agony, but we took on the challenge jointly. We debated between a hot tub and a pool for physical therapy since I'm a cheapskate, and because we were experimenting with everything, CBD. She also had to psychologically go through it all, which she did admirably. There was a surge of energy and a penchant for, as well as, and I got to put my newfound knowledge to action. It's okay, you can laugh about it. I certainly do. But hold on, there's more. COVID had struck just as we were about to begin enjoying the pool. We were able to spend more time together, and we looked like newlyweds. Newlyweds aged 60/54. And well, we tested out the hot tub. I didn't want to go to the pool since it was too exposed to our neighbor's view. But we'd burst the seal on our exploits. I brought up toys. A little amount of BDSM was used, but it was not true BDSM. Her interest was piqued by the novels in the Shades of Grey series. Then there was Cherise Sinclair. We discuss how to do this. But I discovered that reading will not help me become a DOM. She also desired a DOM, so she suggested swinging. Oh my, I didn't respond properly. I didn't talk to her about it for a few months, but I did do it. I conducted some research. I investigated swinging. I looked at Reddit sites. I discovered blogs. I joined a few of websites. No, that was for science. After a few months, I returned to her with a proposal. Our bargain was that we had to be in much better physical shape before we could join the swinger realm, particularly as an elderly couple. But owing to my study, I had a few visions in my brain of what the eventual outcome may be. As a result, we were both motivated. And do you know it becomes better when your physical fitness improves? And boy, did it get better. It began in the summer. Our backyard pool became more private after some strategic building. I'm going to state unequivocally that pool is vastly underappreciated. We did run into the problem of pool water not being very good as lubrication, but we managed to make it work. But then something strange happened. I lasted a couple of hours in the water one day. I assumed it was simply the temperature changes. Then it began to happen outside of the pool. Some guys find it annoying because they cannot for as long during, but in my opinion, as a 60-year-old man, I'm entitled to 2 hours of. And we had that impact for almost 3 months. And we've had a couple swinger experiences since those incredible days building up to last autumn. Hey, it's been a lot of fun. And when you consider that we spent almost 30 years without having much, well, I feel like I was due this. Persistence has clearly paid off. We've taken a step back from our fast-paced freight train run and entered the swinger lifestyle. There are also more aspects involved. However, we are still extremely good together and to each other. If you only remember one item from this epic-length narrative, make it this. Cheating does not have to be the end of the road. It also does not have to take over every area of your relationship after that. What we do to ourselves is much more dangerous than anything that occurs to us. And it's also true that sh*t happens. Don't look for another kind of perfection. There isn't one. Find a fighter to share your life with, someone who is willing to battle through it all with you. And make a commitment to each other to love and support one another, even after you cheated. Also, be patient, and please forgive yourself.